You had to make a decision as his attorney and an officer of the court whether this was appropriate or not. I'm asking about your judgment here. So are you comfortable with it? Now, in retrospect, are you comfortable with that? Do you think that that sentence, 100 months, over 100 months less than what the lowest end of the guidelines was, 89 months less than what the government characterized as a very lenient sentence. The court ultimately gave him 165 months, years more than you wanted. Do you think that did justice to his victims?
Judge Kohler, am I saying your name right?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. Will you allow your personal beliefs to affect your judgment on the bench?
No, Senator.
Okay. Do you have personal beliefs?
Senator, I have personal beliefs like anyone, and I certainly understand the issues that the country is facing. I try very hard because of the fact that both as a reservist and as a sitting federal judge, I have to act within a chain of command, and specifically as a judge, only decide issues after I've been presented arguments by the party to reserve.
You were in the Navy?
Yes, Senator.
Do you think the Navy is systemically racist?
Senator, I've served with people in the Navy from all different backgrounds.
Yes, sir, but as an institution, do you think the Navy is systemically racist?
I think our armed forces were one of the first institutions in this country that were desegregated and allowed for people from all backgrounds to serve their country and better their lives. I don't necessarily understand what that term means
today,
to everyone, but I don't.
I think it's a pretty straightforward.
I don't think today the
it
Navy I'm serving in is systemically racist.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Judge, our second judge, will you allow your personal beliefs to interfere with your judgment on the bench?
No, Senator.
And do you have personal beliefs?
Yes, Senator.
I'm glad to hear that both of you have personal beliefs. You've thought about the world. Judge, do you think minorities need special help to achieve?
Senator, I think as a country, we have come a long way. There are certain issues that the Supreme Court just decided last term on a case of affirmative action that dealt with this issue.
Yes, sir, I'm familiar with the case. Do you believe that minorities in America need special help to succeed?
Senator, I think all people should deserve equal opportunity to succeed.
Okay. Do you believe minorities need special help to succeed?
Senator, again, I think based upon a person's background and their community they come from and what hardships they face, I hope that all persons in this country who work hard have an opportunity to succeed.
Let me try it again. Do you believe that minorities in America today need special help to achieve, to succeed?
Yeah, again, Senator, from all persons, no matter what community they come from.
Yes, sir, but do you understand the question? Am I not being clear?
No, I understand, yes, sir.
Okay, would you answer it for me, please, sir?
Well, Senator, I'm stating again.
So yes or no, it's pretty simple.
Well, I believe that is a complex question in many ways that it's difficult to answer yes or no. Again, I believe all persons.
I don't understand why. You either believe that minorities need special help to succeed or you don't. Is there a reason you won't answer my question?
Well, Senator, again, my answer is persons from all communities. I would also note, of course, okay. There are certain issues when you say minorities.
You're not going to answer it, are you?
Well, like race, that has been
okay. Let's move on. I think by not answering it, you have answered it. But can you tell me what you think about the Navy, whether it's systemically racist?
Senator, the Navy I know is not, and in fact, its primary focus is to be the most lethal maritime fighting force in the world.
Okay, thank you for a straightforward answer. Do you, Judge, we'll move back to our second judge. Judge, do you think that a person's sex is a biological reality, or do you think it's a social construct?
Senator, there certainly is a biological reality of sex assigned at birth, but
Right.
there are, as you're well aware, issues that are before the courts, both in district courts and appellate courts, where individuals are raising issues about how to define that.
Let me
later in
ask
life.
you, I can tell you're reluctant to answer it. And these are tough questions, but I want to know what you think. I'm entitled to know what you think, I think, before you vote. Do you think, Judge, minorities in America today need special help to succeed?
Senator, I
Do you
think
think
that
that's a complicated question?
Senator, I think it's a question that the Supreme Court, as you just
Yeah, but I'm just
indicated,
asking you what you believe.
So with the Supreme Court, and that's
Yes, sir, but what do
a-
you believe? I know what the Supreme Court has said. What do you believe?
I believe that if I am presented with an argument that there is an affirmative action program,
What
or
about
any
you
type-
personally?
or any type.
What about you
program.
personally, not on the bench? We stipulated that you're not going to allow your personal judgment to affect your decisions on the bench, and I believe you. Do you think minorities need special help to succeed in America today? That's a pretty basic question.
I think that question, Senator, is one that the courts will struggle with after.
I'm way over. I just can't believe neither one of you gentlemen will answer my question. I just can't. That's about as fundamental as you get in terms of America today, and I really am disappointed. I thought you would hit it head on. You're going to have tough questions on the bench now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Mr. Federico, let's keep talking about the Gann case that Senator Blackburn was just asking you about. This is a case where the sentencing guidelines recommended up to 240 months in prison. The guidelines range was 210 to 240. Do you remember what range you or what number you asked for from the court as his attorney?
I'm sorry, Senator, I don't recall the exact sentence.
The 105, so less than half of the lowest end of the guidelines range. Now, the government in this case said that it was being very lenient. I've just read their sentencing memorandum and yours. I have them all right here. The government said it was being very lenient. Do you remember what they recommended to the court?
I'm sorry, Senator, I do not.
189 months. 189. You pushed for 105. Why is that?
Well, Senator, I'll note first, I've prosecuted those cases in equal number to the number I've defended. And so I have worked with victims, and I understand.
So what would you say to the victims in this case who, let's just review, Mr. Gann, I'm not going to read the specifics, it's too revolting, but let me just, this is from the pre-sentence report. This particular defendant, this is sanitized, but it's still unpleasant. The defendant used multiple mediums to access, obtain, and distribute depictions of. He used dating websites to meet people offering children. He used email to send depictions of to his cohorts. Why 100 months? I mean, listen, you could have recommended any number of, I get that you want to defend your client, sure, but you could have chosen 175. You could have agreed with the government, 189, which they characterized already below guideline sentence and quite lenient. You advocated for 100. I mean, do you think that that's a sentence that does justice to his victims? You say you prosecuted these cases.
Yeah, well, Senator, yes, you noted the difference between when I'm court appointed to represent them and zealously their interests compared to when I prosecute them. But ultimately, the decision as to the appropriate sentence in that case, like all others, lied with the district judge, Judge Brooms.
Right, but you made a choice to recommend and to advocate for a particular sentence, right? I mean, I'm looking at your memorandum right here. You did author it, I think, right?
Well, Senator, also when formulating a sentencing recommendation, the client's objectives also weigh heavily upon what we would ask the court to do when it determines.
Well, I'm sure the client would like to have 0 time in prison. So if you were going to just regurgitate what your client wanted, I'm sure he didn't want to be in prison at all. So some of the arguments that you made, you said that he had a work history that demonstrated that he was employable. Why should that result in a sentence of 100 months below the lowest guideline recommendation? I mean, how does that help his victims? I'm trying to understand here why you advocated this sentence for this individual.
Well, Senator, the sentencing statute 3553A tells the district court that it must take into account his history and characteristics. And so it is my job as his court-appointed advocate to present to the court information for it to take into consideration, things like employment.
So you're totally comfortable with this? You don't have any regrets about this at all?
Well, Senator, also as a defense lawyer, of course, when I am court-appointed to represent someone, it's not a personal endorsement upon their conduct. It is my job under our Sixth Amendment.
But nor are you an automaton, Mr. Federico. You're an officer of the court. You're a very capable attorney. You have to make moral judgments as a defense attorney. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. You have ethical obligations as a defense attorney. Wouldn't you agree?
I certainly do.
You have ethical obligations to the court as a defense attorney. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
Okay. So your brain is fully engaged. You have a moral responsibility to society. Listen, I mean, you can recommend, as his attorney, you can do whatever you want, right? But you're asking here for a lifetime appointment. So I think it's entirely appropriate we ask you about your judgment in these kinds of cases. This is a case with a defendant who committed very serious crimes against children and frankly contributed to a social problem so significant. This committee has recently passed major legislation, I hope will soon pass into law, that would overhaul our system with regard to this crime, and rightly so. So I want to know from you, do you think that the sentence that you recommended does justice to his victims?
Senator, I could not agree more about the problem.
That's really kind of a yes or no question, I think.
Well, Senator, again, on that case, I recommended the sentence weighing.
I know you did. Did it do justice to his victims?
Ultimately, it's the court that determined his.
But you had to make a decision, Mr. Federico. You had to make a decision as his attorney and an officer of the court whether this was appropriate or not. I'm asking about your judgment here. So are you comfortable with it now in retrospect? Are you comfortable with that? Do you think that sentence, 100 months, over 100 months less than what the lowest end of the guidelines was, 89 months less than what the government characterized as a very lenient sentence. The court ultimately gave him 165 months, years more than you wanted. Do you think that did justice to his victims?
Senator, again, it wasn't my decision as to his ultimate sentence. It was my decision.
I don't understand why you won't answer this question. I mean, isn't the answer yes if you're comfortable with it as his attorney? You can't blink your own responsibility in making the recommendation, right?
Well, Senator, I just don't recall, in particular in that case.
What's to recall? We've talked about all the salient details. I just read you your memorandum.
Well, I don't recall exactly how I landed on the specific sentencing recommendation that we made to the court.
Yeah. That sounds to me like it was a bad idea. It was way low, way low, and now you can't defend it. And frankly, neither can I. And for that reason, among others, I'm going to oppose your nomination.